Hey, Thorson, how are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Tonight we're having a special episode because it's like one of my favorite topics and my favorite genres. Actually, two of my favorite genres. Actually, make that three favorite genres because we kind of cover a lot of genres in this dark spectrum, but we're gonna have a dark synth and metal and a little bit of dark wave tonight. And before that, I'd like to introduce two very special guests. Um, Kizunat, who is our co-curator on ABSYNTH, and Dimi Kaye. Welcome them. Hi.
Yes,
Hello,
hello,
guys.
hello.
Hello. Good evening, guys. Hi.
Packed house tonight. How's everyone doing?
Yes, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
Same here. Thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, thank you for agreeing to do this. This
Of
is the
course.
first
My
time that
pleasure.
we have four people in a room.
Yeah, so we have this plan. We're gonna double each episode. So next time we'll have 8 people. Then we'll have 16.
Then
Let's see how
16 and then
many-
it goes off the rails, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are,
Well-
are you sure the ABSYNTH multiplayer technology can handle that many players?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can have
think-
5,000 if we need to.
Oh, that's very ambitious.
Yeah.
think
Well,
it's,
I'm an ambitious man. I
we have to
suppose.
test it, yeah, first. But yeah, we'll say yes. First of all, thank you so much, both of you guys, for joining us. And Dimi, you're quite the guitar hero in our scene. And even though it's a synthwave scene and a synth scene, we still need our guitar heroes. I think that's really important. And what's really cool is that basically, I think 3 out of 4 people here are metal people or have metal background.
Yeah,
Do you get
absolutely.
which one is the non-metal one?
I don't
My
know,
guess-
Thorsten, which one is like the non-metal
I'm gonna
one?
guess the guy in the pink sweater with a pink background. Just a wild guess. But
Isn't?
a
Oh,
band-
really? But isn't that a bit stereotypical thinking? It could
Yeah,
be
you're
me.
right. It could be, yeah. Maybe it's
Yeah. But maybe we will
Divergent.
find out during the course of the show.
Yeah, I
Right.
should.
You're a metalhead in the making.
Sorry, what?
You are a metalhead in the making.
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I might very well become the most metal out of all 4 of us after the show. Who knows?
Yeah.
Either way, I'm very
Why not?
excited to learn a bit about this this whole spectrum of synth music because as you can probably tell, I'm not all too familiar with with it. But yeah, I'm very excited to.
We're here to convert
to-
you. We're the converters. All right. Well, before we proceed, the video that we showed earlier was actually by Carpenter Brut. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
you guys know who Carpenter Brut is. And this is his information in case you guys want to go ahead and support Carpenter Brut.
On the off chance you haven't yet followed him on Instagram or bought
Yeah.
anything from him, Bandcamp.
Be
Exactly.
weird. Yeah.
But
Alright.
seriously, Carpenter Brut is very well deserving of the mention here, even though he is extremely well known, because I think he is like the bridge between like synthwave and metal and rock.
Yeah. I think him and Perturbator. So we showed
Yeah,
Perturbator
yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
This
It's the two, but I think like Carpenter Brut was kind of like the one who got first accepted
Mhm.
into the metal side of things, and I think his style, at least on the Leather Teeth album, it's like it's very traditional metal in some sense. Like I bought the vinyl record for my father as a Christmas gift, and he was like ecstatic about it. And he's like he likes stuff like Pink Floyd, Black Sabbath, old
Yeah.
prog rock and stuff like that. And it was a shot in the dark. He had been attending a couple of the Finnish synthwave gigs where I had been also performing, but I was always like, is he just being cautious or did he actually like it? And I bought the Carpenter Brut album and he digged it, and I was like, okay, I guess he really did like it.
Wow, that's
the
awesome.
metal scene in Finland is quite rich, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very very big. Not as big as it used to be once. I think it peaked like in the early 2000s, but still very big. You know, everybody knows like the most metal bands per capita in the whole world. Still probably through huge cultural impact, and it's like a lot more mainstream in Finland than in a lot of countries, I think.
First country, I think. I'm not sure if this is correct, but first country to send a metal act to Eurovision. Is that?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
We
And,
all voted for that song.
Oh, that's I'm so glad to hear that. But yeah, it was an amazingly bold move, and you know, I think it was like Finland's only Eurovision victory that year.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Yeah, I don't think Finland has won before or since, and you know, it's always been a joke here that Finland always performs piss poor at Eurovision, but you know, I think it may have been, you know, if I may say rude words, just like this kind of a fuck it thing from, you know, the authorities responsible, and they're like, let's just send off this like costumed metal guys and see what happens, and you know, good things happened.
They are very good things.
Yeah.
But I feel
Eurovision
like
is-
metal never went away. I feel like it's always been so strong. Almost every country that still has like, you know, a huge metal scene, they have it in a big way. Like, and it's,
Yeah.
and so the label that I'm under, like Dark Tunes, is like half of it's like all metal. But like when I see my label mates when they do their shows, it's always packed. It's like they pack stadiums. It's like, you know, and it's so like awesome to see it, you know, because
Yeah.
I always, well, I don't know whether it's an American thing, but it really had that dip in America, you know, where metal kind of just receded a little bit. It wasn't like, you know, basically, I mean, there's still metal scenes, but it wasn't like so pronounced as it is in other countries. But in general, like, you know, especially when I moved to Europe, I feel like metal is still so big, and even bigger here, like, you know, on this side of the world. And for some reason, you know, that it's still pretty relevant, and
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
makes me happy.
Yeah, and I think like I have this feeling that there's like some kind of metal revival coming from the United States, but I think in like Europe, perhaps a bit more traditional forms of metal, if we can say so, like, you know, the 90s death metal, the black metal scene and such have, you know, stayed alive and were like bigger to begin with. And it's like it's kind of funny because when I first started listening to metal, I felt kind of that it was an American thing, but you know, then I kind of drifted to listening to a lot of European bands and kind of realized that, oh yeah, there was like a huge thrash metal scene in Europe in the 80s, like when things were shaping up, and you know, there was like the whole like the European death metal scene in Scandinavia, and then the black metal. So it's kind of like how would I say? Perhaps the perception was like the fish cannot see the water that it's swimming in. You know, metal was for me like, oh yeah, it's American bands like Metallica and you know, stuff like that. But yeah,
And then also
perhaps perhaps Dimi Kaye could perhaps maybe tell of the metal side of, you know, his country.
how about in Greece? What's going on in Greece?
Yeah, there was always a scene in Greece about metal. Usually black metal and thrash metal since the 80s, late 80s. And in black metal, there is a specific sound that is characterized as the Greek sound.
Okay.
It's not like that raw. It has to do with the production values, which there were none back then. The albums were they had a specific sound and the way that they played. And one of the biggest bands today, they are called Rotting Christ, and they tour all around the world. I think they played everywhere in the world. Then you have thrash metal bands that are usually made by young people. They enjoy the fast playing, and there is a scene there too. I've seen that there is, in general, in Europe and the United States, there is a new genre called New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal, with people wanting to play like epic power metal from the 80s and 90s, which is amazing. And one of the songs that you will play later, guys, is from that revival.
Yeah.
But in general, yes, we always had a scene in Greece. That's how I started learning guitar, because I wanted to play metal.
What's really interesting is in the synthwave scene, there's a huge amount of artists and producers in the synthwave scene who actually started in metal.
Yeah.
And I think there's that, like, people ask me, like, what brought me into synthwave or synth-based music. I think it's that vast dynamics that you would get in metal, and it's now crossing over into the electronic genre, and and hence we have dark synth and even like cyberpunk. If it's going into like that whole robotic, I call it the robotic computer-esque sounds, and very atmospheric elements. But I always thought that was really interesting. That's why I've always wanted to do this episode for ABSYNTH, where we can have a closer look at metal and emerging bands that are that have metal bases in them, and emerging synthwave artists that have metal bases in them, dark synth artists, and basically take a closer look at each and every one of them. But before we proceed, Dimi Kaye, since you're basically our guest here, I want to know how you got started as a musician.
With guitar, yes.
Everything, from the beginning, like your history.
From the beginning, my history, when I was young, my uncle brought me from Germany small Casio synths because he wanted to play. I couldn't figure them out. I touched them and then I didn't know how they work. And when I was 12, I went to a friend of mine for the weekend, and he asked me, have you listened to heavy metal before? I said, no. Here's The Trooper by Iron Maiden. And the moment I heard the basic melody, I was hooked forever. I was like that. What is this? What is happening? It was the first time that I heard something that made me go, okay, I want to play that. I want to figure out how to play that. And then many years later, when I was 18, my mother told me, do you want me to buy you there's a Greek instrument here in Greece, it's called bouzouki. It's like stringed instrument.
Yeah.
No. And it's like in the Greek popular music, it's one of the main instruments. And because my mother loves Greek popular music, she wanted me to learn how to play bouzouki. And I told her, buy me an electric guitar and I'll figure the sound and I'll make it sound like a bouzouki. I never did that, but I wanted a guitar. And she did. And after that, I just learned how to play. With synthwave, I got into synthwave because in 2013, I played the video game Hotline Miami, and it was the same thing. I heard of the soundtrack, I listened to the soundtrack, and I'm like, what is this thing that I'm listening right now? And I went to forums, I figured that that's called synthwave. Then I found the groups. Throughout 2014, I was in groups listening to music and learning about producers. And then in one of those Facebook groups, a guy said, guys, we can do a collaboration, a compilation. Whoever wants to add a song, send it to us and we'll release it. And I figured, why not make a song for that? Mm-hmm. And that's how I created Dimi Kaye. Since then, I just released every year.
Well, you just released a record, and we actually covered it on ABSYNTH, and I did the review, and I said the confidence is strong, unbothered and hurried, and supremely solid, tastefully showcases Dimi's guitar and synth mastery and nonchalance without being ostentatious, exemplifying a very centered and grounded approach between emotional delivery and musical bravado that focuses on the experience, a mark of ascended mastery. And this album is so killer. If you guys want to check it out, it's on Dimi Kaye's Bandcamp. Make sure to go check out this awesome album.
Thank you for that beautiful review. Thank you very much.
And the beautiful release.
Yeah.
So, Dimi, you are obviously a guitar genius.
No, but thank you.
Well, Dimi, you're a guitar genius. Did you, before you were into, started in synthwave and all that, were you in any metal bands?
Yes, but they didn't do anything because of chemistry, which is very important. And I didn't know it before. I was in a black metal band, 3-piece black metal band, that we only did a couple of rehearsals. Then for a couple of years, I was in a thrash metal band. We played a bit prog thrash because we liked weird things. Like we tried to play Atheist and bands like that. But because we didn't have chemistry, we couldn't create something, a song that we all enjoyed. So after some years, we split. We're still friends. I talk with the guys. I had the second guitarist in one of my releases before. He played a guest solo. But after that, I moved to another country, so it was only work, and I didn't have the time to be in another band. So that's why I also got involved a lot with synthwave, because I could do my music on my own when I had the time. And my only gripe is that I never got to play a live show, and that's my goal for the future. I want to play live.
Oh, we need to fix that soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that my immediate goal, how to be able to play live. The energy is completely different, so I want to experience that.
Yeah, we have to see a Dimi Kaye show live. And
Yeah,
I would love to play with
absolutely.
you, Dimi. I'm pretty sure you guys too would love to play with Dimi.
Me too. I would love to meet you in person first of all, and then we can jam all together. It will be fun.
Yeah, we have to all hang out one day.
Yes, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Let's do it tomorrow. How's tomorrow lunch?
Yeah, let's just do it. Nothing's stopping us.
I need to book the plane ticket.
Yeah.
You'll figure that out tomorrow.
And I mean, what I love about Europe is that it seems like it's a lot less expensive to fly around.
Yeah,
yes.
true.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can go to Iceland for like under $100. Like, yoo-hoo!
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
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 Transcontinental flights are crazy expensive, but today I saw some ads for like I don't remember, was it like to Barcelona and back for like 40 euros, and I was like,
oh yeah,
I'm actually kind of
Jesus.
tempted.
yeah.
Yep.
You should,
Yes.
you should take
Yes.
advantage of that now.
Yeah. I definitely need to take a freaking vacation once the whole COVID thing clears out.
I
Same.
know. I want to
Yeah.
get out. Yeah, I want to
Same,
see the
yeah.
world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon. All right, we're gonna start putting some videos up, and the first video that we have is actually KIZUNAUTIG's choice. It's Irving Force. So tell us about Irving Force.
Well, Irving Force is a Swedish synthwave advanced artist. He makes this a really cool blend of like synthwave and metal, bit of soundtrack, cyberpunk elements. He's had this style that's kind of sometimes he's more reliant on like these kind of cyberpunk tropes, sometimes more on like these 80s horror and splatter tropes. I really love his style. He has like a, how would I say, his style is both very technically competent, but it's also like very danceable, energetic, and kind of playful in a way that it doesn't feel like a joke, but it feels like there's certain kind of like lightness and this kind of joy to it all. And he's like definitely one of my biggest influences in the scene.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna take a look at the violence suppressor. Here we go.
They're calling this one a landslide.
They knew how to manipulate the media.
In the distant future of 2015, violent gangs roam the streets. United in their thirst for blood and power. are about to take over. The police are outnumbered. Crime runs rampant. And when society can no longer be controlled by law, you must control it by force.
Kung Fu, huh? 我 Kung F you.
Soundtrack available at IrvingForce.com.
All right.
Wow.
So the first video was Irving Force's The Violent Suppressor.
Yes.
Kizuna, you were gonna say something.
Yeah, it's I think it's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old from him now, but it's I love the video. It has like big Gung Fury vibes to it. It's a bit more, I think, the good old 80s cheese than his newer material. Speaking of which, he has like a new EP called Sedatives out now. I made a review of it. I love it. It's great. It's a bit different from that. It's a bit heavier, harder. I would even say perhaps a bit more industrial. But I mean, if you like Irving Force, you should really check out the new EP if you already haven't.
Yeah, well, you said it's extremely recommended for all synth heads who can also digest the metal influences, and for all the metal fans who can take the synth influence. Fans of industrial music might find some similarity, perhaps even influence within the chuggy machine rhythms and tormented voice samples. So that's Kizunaut's review of Sedatives by Irving Force.
Nice.
Alright.
Yeah.
I love a good catchphrase. You know that, right? And that line at the end, well, Kung F you.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I love it.
Yeah.
That was a lot of
Sorry?
work. That was a huge production. Like I was
Yeah, and it
like,
was all by Irving Force. He's a crazy talent.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I have a question for Thorison, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Have you listened to the track? Is there something in that track that you enjoyed, or that piqued your interest, or was it like, not at all?
No, I actually enjoyed it, and I do enjoy darker music as well, despite my background and my sweater. I like with the guitars and the beat. It's all very what's the word? It's all very. What was that?
It grooves.
It grooves very well. I want to say it's a bit syncopated to a point. It's just it just makes you want to go like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
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 I
Yeah,
think
the rhythm side of Irving
go
Force, it's really, really good. It's just you want to get up and dance and mosh to it. It's so great.
Yeah, it's got great.
Yeah, it's
energy.
like normally with dark synth, like you have that mixed conflicting emotions where you want to dance and mosh and headbang and like get violent at the same time, but also like bop and dance. It's like it's usually that's the effect, because with metal you just headbang and you just like mosh like in the pit, right? But with dark synth, like you don't know if you want to dance or you want to get violent.
Yeah.
It's like pick your own adventure.
Absolutely.
And I love these little clips that Dimi does. And so I have them scattered throughout the show because I thought they're so cute and cool.
Yeah, I've enjoyed every single one of those, Dimi.
Thank you. Actually, it's the way for me to learn. I made those videos for two reasons. First of all, because YouTube started doing short videos, and they said that they push it more, and I say, why not? Let's try if this works, and it does. And then I just wanted to strip the genres so I can learn them better. Plus, I make those videos in like 2 hours from music to final video, because I don't want to overthink stuff. Make it, if it works, it works. It's okay. And for this specific one, to me, dark synth reminds me of thrash metal and death metal. And I wanted to make that connection, to show that connection, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did show the connection. And
Yeah,
to be
you did, and you showed your thrash metal chops really well there too.
Thank you.
I think it's so cool. Well, it's Dimi's turn. So the next artist or band that we're going to show is Riot City.
Riot
So
City.
Dimi, tell us about Riot City.
The only thing I know about them, it's they are Canadian. They are in that genre that we talked about, new wave of traditional heavy metal. What I love about it, it's that it reminds me of outrun music. If you put your mind and think about it and let the vibe carry you, you can see some melodies they play in synths and it will work. Plus, I love the voice of the guy. Bands like his, we used to listen when I was in the university, and I was with my friends playing D&D and going rides with the car, and we used to have heavy metal from the 80s. And this music, this song reminds me of that time. It's nostalgic, to me, at least.
Awesome. All right, we're going to look at In the Dark. And it's a lyric video, but it's still really, really, really cool. that was an awesome video, and
Yeah,
look
that
at
was-
Thor's-
That is an awesome Thorison over there.
Yeah,
Look at
Thor's is-
Yeah, the video converted Thorison to metal, and so
Yeah,
fast.
the, I thought the pink wasn't quite cutting it anymore.
I love it. I love the leather and the
Nothing
Go
wrong
take-
with the pink, but that is a very, very stylish jacket.
I would
It
say
is,
go
right?
take professional pictures with that jacket.
I think you need to start a post-punk band, Thorson.
Oh, I love that idea. Maybe I should do that. This was actually back in the day, 2016, my first year of uni. I was
Oh.
my one of my closest friends there was in a metal band, so I used to go to his gigs all the time, and that was my go-to jacket. It's my only kind of metal piece of clothing.
Yeah.
What kind of metal? What kind of metal did they play?
Oh, I forget what it's called. It's not thrash. I think it's something close to prog, I think.
Okay.
But it got quite heavy. They had these very ethereal, atmospheric parts in the middle. After which the drummer would do like double beats, and the guitarist and the bassist, they were all like. That's a cool experience overall.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so some kind of a modern prog thing. Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right. So the video we saw earlier is Riot City, and if you guys want to check out more, you can go to Riot City Official and .bandcamp.com. And I thought it has a very Maiden vibes.
Yeah, very, very.
Double leads and the double kicks. I mean, you could never go wrong with double lead guitars and double kicks. I'm such a sucker for that. Yeah. And the vocals. Like,
Yeah.
You either hated them or love them, and I love them.
I love
For
them.
real.
I loved it. I think they're fabulous. It's so cool. And then the photos that I'm glad that they included some of their photographs, because I really wanted to see what they look like. Yeah. And,
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed everything about that. Really, it's very hardcore. It's got me on the edge.
Yeah, I think what I love about metal music is that it satisfies that part of my soul that's just really hungry for that emotional violence. It's just like, I don't know. Once that part of me opened up when back when I was a teenager, and I first got into industrial and then slowly progressed into metal, and then I heard Tool's my favorite. I mean, everyone knows Tool's my favorite metal band, and that really opened like a whole dimension, in my world. And ever since, I've always just been, that part has always been hungry. Like, I wanted that kind of sound, the whole the intensity, and also I like the songwriting. I always felt metal is kind of like symphonic music or orchestral music. It's just with distortion and heavier sounds, but the arc is there. Same songwriting arc is there, and the way it takes you emotionally. I see the correlation between the two for sure.
Yeah.
To me, I believe actually for a weird reason that intensity of heavy metal makes me feel calm.
Yeah, it's
You know what I mean? Yeah. At some point when I was in university, when I was younger, I used to wake up with Cannibal Corpse because I was no, not kidding. I was stressed about what I had to do that day, with whatever I had to do, and I would listen to Cannibal Corpse, and then I was okay. Let's go do the thing that we need to do.
Yeah.
You just, you just wake up, you jumped out of bed and you just went extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, for real.
Yeah, I mean, there is certainly something paradoxically calming about it all. quite frequently when I'm doing like something really repetitive, mundane at my day job. I like listen to Meshuggah or the Doom 2016 soundtrack, or something really heavy metal, and it just takes me to the zone. Helps me focus a lot better.
And the other thing that I liked about heavy metal when I got into it was that everybody who wanted to play that would get an instrument and then try to learn their instrument. They didn't need to have a teacher if they couldn't, but they wanted to learn. And that was the best thing, I believe, because it made musicians out of fans that probably give amazing music today.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But speaking of calm, like, I mean, a lot of prog metal, like they use polyrhythms and all the odd meters. And if you play them all together, it does have that kind of like that calming effect. Like, it's like that mix of rhythm, and it kind of puts you almost in a trance or in a zone.
Yeah.
And
True.
that's what I love about it too, and match it with like cool transcendental lyrics. You're like, oh my god, my third eye's opening.
Yeah. Lyrics are very important. Yeah.
I think lyrics are very, very important. But speaking of Tool, actually, the next video that we're showing is by our fellow synth fam Connor, who's I recently met Connor and I thought he's really, really great, and I really enjoyed his music, and we're gonna take a look at his song video that he did with this singer named Matt Sky, who actually kind of sounds like Maynard James Keenan from Tool in a Perfect Circle. And so this is Connor.
Hypnotized. Here is the end. You feel your heart race. There is no escape. There is no escape. Every step upon these streets is a dangerous game. You roll the dice with your own life in the city built on pain. You run inside and lock the door so you can feel safe. But there is no escape. There is no escape. Total darkness. Total darkness.
So the first video was by Connor. It's called Total Darkness, and I think it did come from his record Traumaville.
Yes, it did. It's a great record. It came out before I started doing reviews, but if I had been doing reviews back then, I would have definitely done a write-up about it. I really love it. It has like a kind of an innovative sound to it, interesting mix of various elements, influences from rock, metal, electronic, and it like feels like it has certain kind of soul and meaning behind the album and the concept of people escaping this trauma will and so on. It has like a lot of elements that really resonate with me.
Yeah, I like how it has some dark alt rock elements to it and
Yeah.
Yeah, and the vocals did remind me of Maynard James Keenan a bit, and which made me appreciate it even more. And I thought his visuals were also great. And his
Yeah.
And he's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
He
I
is a
love
great guy.
Connor. I love the guitar in this. It's so powerful.
Yeah. And he is a great guy. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, go Connor. See?
Yeah, go Connor.
Yeah, you have a fan in all of us here on ABSYNTH. All right, so moving along, the next video we got is actually it's KIZUNAUT's choice. It's by The Algorithm. So tell us, KIZUNAUT.
Yeah, well, The Algorithm, I think they are a bit of these kind of pioneers of mixing this kind of more modern D&T metal with like a very broad range of electronic music. When they started, it felt like people weren't getting what they were doing and they were like mocking them a bit like, what on earth is this? But I think their style has kind of, there's not a lot of bands that are doing exactly the same thing, but I think perhaps you can find a bit of Algorithm's DNA in a lot of these modern kind of mixes of dark synth and metal, even though The Algorithm necessarily don't draw that much from synthwave. They do have some songs which certainly have inspirations, elements from it, but they have like such a broad range, such a unique sound, such pioneers, totally deserving of a shout out.
All right, well, we're going to take a look at Pointers by The Algorithm.
out there,
That's
unreal.
cool.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
that's something
unreal.
else.
Yeah.
Really cool.
And
I like that, you're all from a metal background, but my background, I started out in trance. So it's nice to see a bit of a trance influence in there as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's-
they have a super broad range of like influences. It's really fun to listen to like their albums and just try to kind of pick apart all the influences. And I think it's like mostly one person, the guy who was playing the guitar and the keyboards and the samplers in the video, and it's just crazy talent. He has like such talent for bringing together like such diverse elements. It's something that I always respect a lot in music.
also the athleticism.
Yeah.
Athleticism was mind blowing. It's like I was
Yeah.
counting. I was trying to keep count of the time, like
Yeah.
when it started, and I just lost count like after like 5 seconds. I was like, oh, I don't know what time signature they're on, but
Yeah.
it was like, how do you play that live? Like I always
Exactly,
wondered
yes.
that.
And how he triggers,
Yeah.
how he can trigger all the effects while he's playing the guitar and he keeps the
Yeah.
tempo, the rhythm. Insane.
That was insane, and it was mind blowing, and the juxtaposition of all the influences that they had, all varied, but they all work so well, and it felt seamless. It actually felt like you're saying it had like some trance parts, like it had metal parts, it had like all these. But it actually felt like a prog piece, like how prog changes shift from one section to the next, but they did it so seamlessly, and yeah, I was
nice blend.
Great
nice
stuff.
blend.
And yeah, they actually have been putting out new material recently. I think they've for the past 3-4 months or so have been putting out a new single every month. Some great new stuff out there too. So there is also some fresh algorithm for all your hungry ears out there.
So it's called The Algorithm.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
Fitting name.
Very fitting name.
Yeah, very fitting name. So we're gonna segue a little bit. We're gonna go into darkwave territory. A band from Greece. So Dimi Kaye, tell us about Strawberry Pills.
I discovered them a couple of months ago because I watched a podcast. This guy, the guitarist, is a journalist, and he does some cool podcasts with artists. He invites artists. Those artists, of course, they are from trap music, and I don't listen to trap music. But anyway, it's a nice podcast to listen. And through him, I discovered that he has a band. They say, okay, let's check it. And I check this song right here. And I'm like, okay, that's for me. Exactly my style. And what I love about it is that the singer sounds like the Amanda Gallas. I don't know if you know her.
No.
Check her. She was an old goth singer from the 80s, 90s, something about over there. She has a characteristic voice, deep voice, and that girl here that sings has the same quality. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take a look at Strawberry Pills, and the song's called "The Voyeur." I think it's just "The Voyeur."
Yeah.
Pardon me if it's incorrect. Let's take a look. What can you not play, Dimi?
You
Classical
have such
music.
range, man.
He does have
cannot-
range.
I would love to know how to play flamenco and classical guitar.
Mm.
That would be amazing.
Do you
But
think it would? I think it would be easy for you to play classical guitar, no? Because you're like a
Uh,
master shredder, like all the speed, like you already know the speed.
yes, but I don't have the fingers, the right hand fingers for
yeah.
yeah, you know. It needs practice. Okay, with practice it might happen, but
Mm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
difficult. It's difficult.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
you never
Okay,
know.
he can do it. Yeah, we will see one of those short videos, like with all the tutorials on how to make flamingo music.
Oh man.
So, how cool was Strawberry Pills? I
Very.
thought,
Very cool.
vibing with them and the energy, like her presence was so powerful, and that voice so awesome.
Yeah, she had a really great voice.
Yeah.
And they have a new single out, but it's in Greek. Still, it
No.
works because the vibe is there. It has an amazing vibe, but
Mhm.
they sing in Greek. And in dark wave, I like that. You have bands that they sing it in Turkish, in German. I think it
Yeah.
works.
It worked.
It creates a different vibe
Yeah.
as long as you can dance it. Yeah.
I also love, you know, how music and it's really just about the attitude, you know? It's really about putting your attitude out there. It doesn't have to be super perfect. It just as long as you can really convey the emotions, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think they really, really deliver that.
Yeah, they did, and you know, I liked the video a lot. Like, it wasn't super flashy or didn't necessarily have like super high production values, but it worked really well for the music, and you know, for their vibe and presence. It was really nice.
All right. Okay, so moving along. Actually, the next one is my pick. This is another synth fam, or dark synth fam, Hexenkraft, and he recently released a music video that's inspired by Berserk, dedicated to Kentaro Miura, who's the creator of Berserk, and I thought it turned out really, really, really cool, and I wanted to present it to everyone because I think everyone's going to enjoy it. Let's take a look at Hexenkraft's Urban Spires of Dis.
That was
Yeah.
quite something.
Yes.
Berserk never got finished, right?
Yeah, it never got finished. The author died of, I think it was of like sudden heart failure before he could. It was like a super long running manga, and there were like very, very long gaps between the later releases, and he had just like started got the ball rolling again, so to say, metaphorically, I think, and then he just died. It's
Oh, that's so sad.
very, very tragic case. But yeah, that was
I thought Hexenkraft did a great job.
Yeah.
Using the music and doing the editing with the Berserk anime.
Yeah.
And it works so well. And he's
it does.
such a great character on Twitter. I always enjoy his tweets.
Yeah, he's a swell dude, and I think his house got damaged in the hurricane, that was in the United States recently. So
Which is so
I would.
unfortunate,
Yeah, so I don't know. Perhaps this would be a good time for everybody to chime in and go buy something from him from his Bandcamp.
Yeah, if you guys want to support and help out our dear friend Hexenkraft, go to his Bandcamp at hexenkraft.bandcamp.com. And also follow him on Twitter because he's got great tweets, and I call him the Dark Lord, and
he's very active, yeah.
He is a Dark Lord. Someone has to be the Dark Lord in Synth Fam, right?
Absolutely.
All right, moving along. So the next one is Dimi's pick, and it's the Villagers of Ioannina. Please help me with the pronunciation. Villagers of Ioannina City. So Dimi, tell us.
So Ioannina is actually the word, and it's my city. It's where I'm from. And those guys are a band from here that when they started back in 2002, their first iteration was new metal band, like Slipknot. Then they changed, and what they did was they remade traditional popular music from Greece from the late 1800s with stoner rock. They performed live all around the Balkans. They became a name like that, and when they released the first album, they blew up. And now this is from their second album. They follow their own sound. They do something on their own, completely new lyrics. It's not like they retain some traditional instruments, but they do their own thing now. And I chose this song because it has nice lyrics, and it represents this area that I'm from, and our past, and unfortunately our future.
All right, we're going to look at For the Innocent by Villagers of, say it again, Dimi, I'm so
Ioannina
sorry.
City.
All right. Awesome video. Thank you.
Yeah,
so
it
much
was
for bringing
very
it.
cool. I really like the music. You could kind of hear like the kind of the stoner rock side of things and the traditional instruments, but it was definitely like more of a, how would I say, like it had bit of a pop structure to it, or like more approachable than what stoner rock could perhaps be, and very actually relevant lyrics and themes, and the video was also very cool, very hypnotic. I really enjoyed it, and this was a band I would have probably absolutely never ever heard of, by myself. So thanks for bringing this to my attention.
Yeah, thank you, all of you, actually, because these have been 3 excellent tracks. I've been quiet because of some difficulties, but I've been really, really enjoying all these 3 songs. I think Strawberry Pills is what it really caught my ear as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, 3 distinctive vibes, 3 distinctive bands, 3 excellent bands that I have enjoyed listening to very much, and 2 of them are from Greece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The quality of production is up in all the countries now. You can do everything you want from your home. So
yeah.
These guys, I think they have their own studio. So and they master things in Sweden or somewhere over there. So their music is quality, super quality. Plus they are signed in Napalm Records, which has Ginger and other great bands.
Yeah.
They are professionals. They play for thousands of people live, so they know what they do. And I'm proud for them because it's a band from my hometown.
Yeah.
Not only from Greece.
I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah.
I would like it would come across a brand new band. I mean, to me, they're brand new. This is the first time I'm hearing about them.
Yeah.
And just to hear their music and see how awesome they are and how cool they are, and at the same time you hear that, oh wow, they're already like performing to like thousands of people. It's like that really warms my heart. Like I'm just like
absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's always so great.
If I can add to that, I think it's positive to me because I know the guys from like 20 years ago. Not entirely personally. I have met the drummer and the bassist many years ago. And the nice thing is that I know where they were, I know how they tried, and now I see where they gotten. And it's positive because if you try, if you are a bit lucky, and if you try again, and then try a bit more, and try, maybe you will reach something like that. To me, it's positive.
Yeah.
Excellent moral here.
I think my favorite quote actually from Jay-Z.
Okay, no judgment there.
Yeah, from Jay-Z. The most genius thing that they did was that they didn't give up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Because there's really no formula. Success is an anomaly.
Yeah, and music is a marathon, it's not a sprint.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you wanna get like quick victories, you are gonna get disappointed because you can have like the one hit song or one song that gets on a big playlist, and then that's that for a long time, and it's you're just gonna walk away disappointed if you just want to focus on the short term, the quick gains and all that. I think you have to be prepared to like to be in it for a long time and be prepared to like do your own thing from your heart, or else you can't do something you aren't actually committed to for like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, how long ever it takes. And if you are doing something that you enjoy, perhaps the success side of things isn't like the value in it itself. You don't have to become the biggest artist of your country or your hometown or whatever. As long as you are like expressing yourself and enjoying yourself, I think that is already in itself great. But who knows? Of course, with time, the opportunities will come.
Yeah,
definitely in it for a long time and a good time.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I think and I always talk about this, and I always say that with creative work, it's not really work, it's you have to be a process-driven person. Like you're in it for the process, you know. And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe this is
Yeah.
and I'm gonna speak in broad strokes, but like, you know, being an American who just moved to Europe, you know, the big difference that I do notice between Europeans and Americans is that the Europeans are actually all about the process. Anything that they do, their focus is on the process. In order to get to the results, you focus on the process. Whereas Americans, we're very result-driven people. We're always about numbers, where you want to get as far. You know, it's hugely capitalistic. You know, and that is a, you know, the mentality. You know, when you're living in a very very capitalistic society.
Yeah.
It's like you it's almost like skip as many processes as you can as long as you get to the results. Like, you know, you can't wait to get to the results. Whereas here, like, you know, it's from and everything really, like, you know, whether you're an artist, whether you're a baker, whether you make perfume, whether you make, you know, shoes, or Europeans have a way of taking something and making it an art form, and, you know, and it's really about the process. And the same thing really should be said about music, where I feel like in order to become a successful musician or successful creative or artist, you have to be in it for the process. You know, you're doing it because you love the process, not because you're rushing to get to the result. You know, and I think that's where things fall apart when you're just focused on the result, and also you make bad decisions when you're just so focused on the result versus really like, okay, your heart's in the process, because it's, you know, the process defines what the result's going to be.
Yeah, I think another big thing is the journey. You know, if you're you know, just hopping to the end, you know, where's the journey? Who's gonna care? Where you're at if you didn't go through any obstacles or whatever that may be, what your journey is. But you need something there that makes you you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't think. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that, you know, that the process will always also have, you know, like these unexpected things come along. Like when I started making music as KIZUNAUTIG in late 2017, I didn't expect that I would be taking part in what we are doing here right now. But I'm really pleased that we are, and, you know, you know, you have to be open to these kinds of, you know, new possibilities and things you didn't think of before. And if you are like very end result driven, you are gonna be blind to these kind of things.
Yeah, you always have your like blinders on.
Yeah.
You know, you don't see your peripheries, and you don't see you don't see outlets and possibilities and channels.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And I think, you know, that's one of the things that I did notice, only because I did go through that American system, very American system. I mean, I have a very American upbringing, and moving here and seeing Spain, especially the Spaniards, like seeing their way of life, and versus me living in New York. Oh my God, it's like polar opposite.
That is indeed a whole different world from what I heard about New York.
It's like, you know, New York's like, everyone's like a hungry wolf there. Like, you know, and it's about getting to the results as fast as you can, you know, getting to the success, or whatever the idea of success is that most New Yorkers have, you know. But what's great about it is that growing up in New York did equip, you know, New Yorkers with like skill sets and kind of like, how do you, like, you know, survival skills. There you go. You know, so moving to a place like Spain, it's like, oh wow, everything's easy.
Totally understandable. Yeah. I totally get that, and I agree with that, because you know how to navigate your life without getting stressed about basic things, basic situations. You have experienced way more extreme situations to be bothered by that. So yeah, I totally understand. Can I say two things? About
absolutely.
The journey of the musician or the artist.
Please, that's what you're here for.
First thing, eventually someone will notice. It might take time, but someone will notice. And the other thing, when you try to submit or you try to get noticed or whatever, you will, out of the 1,000 times, you will hear no 999 times. Yes, the only time that matters is the one that you will hear yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have that in your mind
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
for
very
everyone
well
that
said.
listens. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I like. That's what I'm so happy about Absinthe, and I'm happy that we're all doing this because we're all musicians. Like we're all in the hustle, and we're here also communicating with our fellow musician friends
Mhm.
and fellow artists, and we're all deep in the hustle. Like we want to bring the dialogue of like not just curation, not just like who's cool, what we think is great. No, we're
Yeah,
here
yeah.
to bring the dialogue of like, well, what does it really take,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and help
Yeah.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best thing that happened, at least to me, in that scene. That's why I love it. It has changed, but anyway, that they are so accepting that they will give you their time to check your music, while in other
Yeah.
scenes that does not happen. That does not
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, absolutely. Like, I would myself at least say I was more like sucked into the synthwave scene than like very actively sought to be part of it. I was just the way I started making this project was, I was in a band. It wasn't going anywhere. I started doing solo stuff, and I just put out stuff in a SoundCloud, hang out with some guys on a Discord. It wasn't going anywhere, but then suddenly the synthwave people discovered me, and it was just like a huge explosion. Like suddenly, instead of 3 people following me on on Spotify, it was 240, and I
Yeah.
was like, what? And it was like, my style isn't perhaps like the most traditional synthwave. If it's synthwave at all, we could all split hairs about it. But the scene was very welcoming. It was sort of felt alive. It felt like it was expanding, it was going. Like I feel like getting into something like industrial or goth grooves, it just feels like you would have to know these people for like 10-20 years. Like even if they are like sweet people, there's still the kind of energy that these guys are talking about some scene conflicts that I have absolutely no idea what is going on or no interest in taking part of. And there's like not much of a culture of doing Spotify playlists, which is a huge deal for small independent artists on getting like exposure. Like whether it's a good culture or not, it's another discussion, but I think there is like a Spotify can be a very valid music discovery tool, and if you can get yourself picked up by the algorithm and have your music be recommended to other listeners who like maybe listen music that is similar to yours, that is a very big thing. But I mean, a lot of music scenes are like really insular, and it can be like really discouraging, like trying to get in there.
There's a lot of gatekeeping on a lot of things. Like
and I don't even know if it's like conscious gatekeeping or if it's less like there's a lot of established scenes. The people know each other and they're like, okay, who are like these guys? It's less like an automatic social process of like maybe not even like paying attention to people who they feel like aren't part of their social circle, even if they are like open to the idea of discovering new music.
Right. Absolutely. Dimi, you're going to say something.
What was I going to say? I think what we need to have in our mind is that with internet, our audience is the entire world. We just need to find a way to reach them. So it doesn't matter if there's that's why I don't care about gatekeepers or drama or whatever, because it doesn't affect me. It cannot affect me. I might have fun.
Shouldn't affect anyone. That's my thing. It shouldn't affect anyone. Like
it might be cool to read what's happening because I believe most of us enjoy reading something like that. It's funny.
Yeah.
But in general, I don't see how you will. It's not like we are all in the same city, and if I'm mad with you, I am going to not let you play live the next time, and you won't get some money for the week or whatever.
Also, like, also the way I look at it is, has anyone really become a rock star or an established big star through that process? Like to me, that's
exactly.
one, Like, it
Exactly.
doesn't really matter. Like, a lot of that doesn't. It's nice to submit your work and get the accolades or whatever, but at the same time it's not gonna define your success or your route to success.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice to have okay, mad props and get a high fives from certain people, but that's not a defining moment unless they're
Yeah.
Rolling Stone or
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
they're like other big
Yeah.
music publications. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter, I think. What
Yeah.
matters is
Not
that
if it's
you
just a
develop.
one-off. No, then definitely not.
Yeah.
It's not until
Yeah.
it becomes the consistent
Yeah.
stream of
Yeah.
being noticed. Then yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's great.
absolutely.
Then
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's also what matters right now is making sure that going back to what you're saying, because it's not about Spotify and the playlist culture. The one thing that it has its benefits that in terms of getting your music out there, and if you get into the algorithm,
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
help in majorly. But the one thing that's really frustrating about the playlist culture is that it doesn't really breed active fan base. It breeds
Yeah, that's
passive,
Yeah.
true.
very passive listeners where and I'm guilty of this as well, where it's like, I'll put on my favorite playlist. Am I exactly researching certain artists, even if they're great in that playlist? What's compelling me to actually take a look and dive deep? So it does create that passive listener base. But
Yeah.
what we really need right now, and other artists and musicians, they need active fire breathing
Yeah.
fan base.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the ones
Yeah,
who that's why
absolutely.
I love Bandcamp. Bandcamp, and I wish somebody told me about Bandcamp like 3 years ago, because I was focusing on streaming services. I'm sure you guys too were focused on streaming, but I felt Bandcamp is a clear indication of where you are in terms of your metrics base. In terms of it's a good barometer of okay, where are your fire breathing fan base, and then it really reveals a lot more in that sense of okay, who's going to come to your show, who's going to buy your merch, who's going to support your record. Where it's like with playlists, it's great to have the like tens of thousands of monthly listeners that you get, but then how much of that does it really convert to a real fan who will stalk you in all your social media platforms, or give you money? It's
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And I also did read an article a while ago about what matters on the streaming metrics is your conversion rate, your conversion percentage. So you basically take your monthly listeners and you take your I'm trying to remember exactly what the math is, but you take your monthly listeners or your actual followers and you divide it by the other, and that you get that conversion percentage, right? So if you're under 10%, it's basically that's you're not really performing as well. But if you're over 10%, 15%, if you're converting at 25%, you're hot. If you're at 50%, you're super hot. You're signable. If as long as those metrics are converting into followers and to fire breathing followers, I think that's when it will really, really help. But otherwise,
the other one. So the other one is saves to listen. So if you're getting 300,000 streams, but you're getting 50 saves, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe it's not your fault, and I don't think it's really the artist's fault. It's just that's what the playlist culture is breeding right now, that passiveness, where where music has become more of a backdrop to people's lives. And you know what, that's fine too. Some musicians, they make music and for that purpose, to enliven and help regular people, right? And their everyday lives, but in order to really make gains, you know, in the industry, especially as an independent artist, you really need to develop that good chunky,
Definitely, yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
base
yeah.
I think as well that there's an even bigger issue than the passive listeners. You know, I've started out as a passive listener on some playlists on Spotify, and then you know you stop at the song and you think, oh, that's a cool song. I'll go check out this artist, and you build up that relationship that way. But the bigger issue is the fake streams and all that follows.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's a
that's,
huge one as well.
Yeah,
It's like
that's a big one.
I've seen a lot of like 6-digit monthly listeners on Spotify, and then if you look at their profiles, they only have like 10 followers. Like, I mean, come on, it's like,
Yeah.
everything checks it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the worst thing about, you know, the whole fake stream culture is that it has like completely rotted like any kind of indie music promotion services. Like it's all just botting. Like it's so easy that some dude gets some, I don't know, 6,000 playlists versus like, okay, get like consultation from someone who knows actually something about marketing, have them do like, you know, social media videos, and that it's gonna be expensive. It's not gonna bring like that kind of, you know, seemingly really great, you know, results. And I think like a lot of people are kind of trying to bank on this kind of a so-called Matthew effect, that okay, if this guy has a lot of streams, it means that you must have like really good music. But then again, since if the listeners are becoming more passive, are they really gonna go check you know, your artist page if your music isn't all that great?
Yeah, like when you're producing shows, like, you know, when I was producing shows in New York, like, you know, we've had acts and artists who were up there. They were up there in terms of like their streaming metrics, you know, but it's like, but the burden of bringing the people were still on the opening acts and the supporting acts, where it's like, you know, we still have to make sure that the venue is packed. Like, regardless.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, like, there will be acts where okay, it's understandable sometimes when if it's not a local act, if it's a visiting act, and like, you know, but still, like, you know, a major city like New York, if you're a high profile artist, you should be able to pack those shows, like, you know, if the whole streaming culture was working on your favor, you know. But a lot of times it really doesn't. That's why I always say, like, you know, Bandcamp has been proven to be the most reliable when it comes to metric barometers, and at least you can see like a tangible, you know.
But with Bandcamp, I gotta say that I don't think outside of the US there is such a strong, you know, culture of buying music from Bandcamp. And I've known like several Finnish artists who like have said to me that they feel like trying to invest into Bandcamp is very frustrating, because there are not a lot of Finnish users there who aren't like other musicians, and when the other users are other musicians, you start to get this feeling that they are only buying your music because they want you to buy their music. So there really isn't such a strong culture of like having these people who are just like the listeners and buyers on Bandcamp here. I don't know what's the situation like elsewhere in Europe, but I've talked with like one guy who has a bit of a more understanding of how things are like in Germany and such, and he's like said that Bandcamp is a very US centric thing. Like they don't really try to even promote themselves out of the US. Like their curation, their official curation is also rather like US centric, unless they do like, wow, look at this thing from country X kind of thing. So if I were saying like, is it a reliable metric of anything in Finland? Well, maybe it's a reliable metric of how many like guys from US who like your music there is, but is that gonna pack venues in Finland? Nah, I think here it's like, here it's more about, you know, knowing people who run shows and getting them to book you, and then they'll turn up or not. But you know, that kind of a very old school way of doing things also has its sides, you know. And you know, overall this is a very small country, very small culture, not a whole lot of active, you know, listeners for very niche music. And sometimes, you know, you can have this crazy runaway thing when you are doing something some nicheating with great passion and throwing some actual promotion behind it. But ultimately this is a kind of a small pool. So I would say that I think the ultimate barometer of your, I guess, success is where people come if they come to see you play live, and for certain reasons we really haven't been able to be playing live for like 2 years now, and it's kind of like turned the whole kind of like, where am I going, am I being successful, am I not? It's turned it really abstract and kind of like in the end kind of inconsequential for me. Like, I have a roof over my head, I have my day job. This is for me something that I do out of a passion, and I try to promote it in meaningful ways and try to do it well. But ultimately I think the success I have is the fact that I have like actually people who monthly listen to my music, and I think it's like crazy. Like I go check Bandcamp stats, and even the plays are in the like counts of like hundreds of plays and such, and it just feels like really, really crazy in a sense, the idea of that you have like people all over the world actually listening to your music. And I think like it's important to have some perspective into things, and see in itself how like amazing it is that you can have a global audience these days, even as a pretty small artist.
And honestly, I think that is like that's really the next step for Bandcamp, just like with other platforms, is the globalization. They just need to globalize more. And that's like, and like what I was saying earlier before in a previous episode, like so in New York, like when we play shows, like I think the most I was able to bring was maybe like 120 people, like for a show, which is for New York that's pretty good, considering New York takes people and artists for granted. But it's like, but with live stream, when I started doing the live stream, like I did one festival, and it was just nice to be able to capture a global audience, like, in one show. And then I think that's what's going to change the game some more, is that like, the live performances are great when you're already at that point where you can really start bringing in people. Like, in your local area,
absolutely.
Like for me personally, I'm in a handicap because I just moved to Spain, and I don't have, I don't really like know the scene here. I'm a terrible handicap unless I work with Synth fam and other synthwave artists or other electronic artists who already have a base and start playing shows, and maybe I can start building there. Like, how I built it back in New York, but at the same time, I think there is comfort to be taken in the fact that you can do live streaming now and capture a much wider range of audience, and you have that outlet, and you can still generate your fire breathing fans through that. Really capture people through that.
Absolutely.
But you made a great point about Bandcamp. It is like, it is more US centric only at the moment, but that might change. Like,
and
let's hope it changes.
A lot of the artists especially that I've been showcasing, they don't even have Bandcamps here, so it goes across the whole of Scandinavia as well. I don't know a single artist in Iceland that has Bandcamp either. So it's
what do they? Is it iTunes? I feel like iTunes is kind of replaces the Bandcamp, right?
If I judge
judge
from the metal scene here in Greece now, they do music just for the live shows. They don't believe that they can sell. Maybe they'll do a deal to create CDs, and they'll sell their CDs to their friends or people that visit the live shows. They attend the live shows. But I have talked with 3 different people from bands, and they didn't have Bandcamp. I had to make them a PDF file with how to create a Bandcamp page for real.
Well, it's very nice of you, by the way, Dimi, to create a PDF.
That's really great. I was like,
that's
Bandcamp for dummies.
That's some praxis right there. That's great.
Now but videos, and they'll say the YouTube.
So, but if you want to purchase music in Europe, what is the main platform for purchasing music?
I think your question is perhaps a bit. Europe is a very big place. There's like the amount,
Okay, so
the range of countries and different cultures and different practices is so
it's very
big. Like,
diverse.
yeah, for Finland, like I would almost say that here, like if you want independent music, we still have a pretty strong culture of like these small independent record companies and the whole independent festival circuit and stuff like that. But of course, the playing field here is very small, and with a lot of the synth people, they were all like very heavily focusing on the streaming services, partly because they know that the pool is so small that if you want to be big, then you have to get globally discovered. And perhaps like yeah, I think that approach, we have been through about the negatives of the streaming culture, but it does kind of put you out there. And even if the conversion rates are what they are, even if you are 30,000 streams on a single song that just happens to get lucky, if it nets you 3 followers, it's still like 3 followers probably outside of your country. So there's a lot of like really good Finnish independent artists that I enjoy that have like they released an album 2 years ago, they get a bunch of Bandcamp sales, they probably sell some physicals, then I go check them on Spotify and it's like less than 200 monthly listeners. I'm like, what, these guys are really great, why aren't people listening to them? But it's kind of like, I think putting your stuff out there, even if it's being listened a bit passively, it does have its value. And suddenly like those kind of perhaps dismal conversion rates are gonna like net up you some listeners from outside of the country versus being like really complacent and reliant on okay, I'm signed on this label, they've like printed 50 vinyls, okay, we sold them, that's it, that's great, everything is fine. So yeah, I think like especially in the smaller countries there is probably a big focus on the streaming services, but that's because the playing field is very small. People dream bigger than the playing field, whether it's realistic or if it's if they run into the negatives of the the playlist culture, I don't know. But I think some people have been very successful with like a streaming first approach. Like I definitely know like Ace Buchanan has been like he has a lot of fire breathing fans, and he has like a very, very healthy kind of this monthly listener base on Spotify. And he's like a Bandcamp is like he has Bandcamp, but he does not focus on it as far as I know.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to what your definition of success is.
Absolutely.
I've seen so much, negativity. Maybe not negativity towards people like Olivia Rodrigo, and people are like, oh, but no one came to her shows, and like maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she just achieved what she wanted, through the streaming. There's people that just strive for that as well, and there's nothing wrong.
It does change each time. Like for example, like I have friends like back home who they're considered one of the biggest acts in New York, and and it's actually led by Michael C. Hall, the actor.
Oh,
yeah, it's like it's Michael C. Hall's band. Like these guys, like they have maybe four under like around 5-digit monthly listeners on Spotify, but every time they play a show in New York, it's always sold out.
Yeah.
It's always packed, and and I think it's great because like it's also the opposite for them, where they're like, what, we pack shows, like we don't care about our streaming, we pack
exactly.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
They have Michael C. Hall. I mean,
Yeah.
so that also helps. But yeah, it's like I think it's true. Like Thorsten made a point. Like it's how you define success. Like it's how you define your own trajectory as an artist.
Absolutely.
These days, there's no real formula of like what the success is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you're going. As long as you know where you're going. As long as you're getting where you want to go.
Yeah. And some of the artists I've spoken with, we have this kind of shared sentiment, like maybe they don't have as intellectual view of it as I do, but for me, kind of like I don't know, having something like 600 global listeners, it does kind of feel like, okay, this is what the internet was made for, like not for the garbage that is, but actually like getting yourself out there, allowing you to like connect to people and so on. But like we all share this sentiment that having this kind of access to a global audience is in itself like a really amazing thing.
Yeah.
And that perhaps it's even more amazing than getting like approval from some kind of creator or music media or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's kind of like people take these kind of things a bit too granted, and I guess like these kind of things has easily become background noise of the life, and once you get to a kind of certain level of success, however you define it, you just start feeling like it's the normal, and if it goes down, you start feeling bad about it. But it's just it would be really good to try to like kind of stay a bit humble and kind of see the amazing things in being able to connect to a global audience, or in whatever capacity that may be. Some may like having big streaming numbers, other might like this kind of more intimate, smaller situations, such as what we have going on right now here. But we have
my philosophy has always been like quality over quantity. It's like
absolutely.
It's better to have a smaller amount of followers who are actually really cool people.
Absolutely.
It's the mentality in fashion. It's the same thing with fashion. Like especially like the more high end you go in fashion, the smaller your basis or your consumer base.
Absolutely.
But those are the ones that will really carry you through, and it's an upside down triangle type of thing.
Yeah. And I guess what I was getting at is that it's I'm myself quite critical towards like information technology and what it has become, and computers and how they are used these days. But sometimes you have this opportunity in life to kind of rediscover the wonder in the technology that we have. And I think if you can do it, you should take it, and not get like burnt out on social media or streaming or whatever. But just like get back to the basics. That we had this amazing idea of connecting the whole world. We kind of got there, but it's got kind of like twisted along the way. Maybe I can kind of take the good and just leave the bad out.
Yeah. If it's
Absolutely. Well, let's move on. We have a couple more videos.
Yeah.
This has been a great discussion. Very constructive and healthy and just helpful. And I think it will help a lot of people and also make them think. But let's take a look at actually KIZUNAUTIG's choice, Master Boot Record.
Yes.
Tell us.
Yes, I think they are like a two-man band. I think they are from Italy, not certain. This is what I remember. I've seen them live once and they were really great. They have a very unique style that obviously draws from metal, but they have like a very, very different kind of sound even within synthwave. Very low bit, very harsh, very cool. They have also made a lot of covers of like very classic video game tunes, but the video we are about to show you is an original creation of theirs.
And before we actually talk about the video, I actually picked them as branding of the week because holy cow, these guys.
Yes, absolute aesthetics right there.
Actually,
they're so on point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Dimi, you're going to say something.
No, what was I was going to say is I don't know about the live show. Maybe there were two, but it's only one person, and he deals with everything about this.
Oh, yeah, they had. Yeah. Okay, there was like a drummer with, but yeah, I guess he's just a guest artist. Yeah, probably so.
But
yeah,
oh my God, like I saw there. Well, one of you guys posted this record collection that they just had, or this new limited edition vinyl that they put out, or CD, and I was like, holy cow! Like, I mean, I love it when they take it to those levels, like their aesthetic, and they really convey it.
Yeah,
deliver it, like they package themselves, and it's so simple. Like there's it's not superfluous whatsoever. It's very streamlined, sleek, but they've got their branding down, like, and their aesthetic. It's really, really cool. And I think they also translated it into their visuals for their video. So we're gonna take a look at Master Boot Records. I don't really know how to say the song name. It's RHS Config System.
Yeah. They have a bit
too techy for me.
very, very techy track names. Very fitting for the aesthetic and band, though.
It works. Yeah, it does work with their vibe. So let's go take a look.
Brutal.
Brutal indeed.
I love
Simple
it when
but effective.
I love it when they get really symphonic. Like it's like it's so nerdy. Like I love that.
Yeah, it has
branding
a
of the week.
Yeah.
Branding of the week.
Yep.
Yeah, Master Boot
True.
Record. So go guys check
Very
out Master Boot Record on their Bandcamp and check out their awesome branding.
So
guys.
cool.
Records. Yeah.
It is
it's
cool,
like
yeah.
that's the dream, you know? Like to be able to do that too on your merch is really, really cool. I mean, I love it. I think it's awesome. So all right. We are at our finale, at our final video, and we are going to play a Dimi Kaye piece. Wrapping up this way. It's the song video. And but yeah, I think it's time. It's time for Dimi to have a full length.
True. Yeah. Next.
We had all these cute little snippets of like the shorts, and I always enjoy the shorts. You know,
I will upgrade my camera soon. That's for sure, because I want to try and make something proper.
Wait, you don't have. Wait, what? Do you use an iPhone?
A Samsung Galaxy. Yeah. My sister
Oh.
gave it
So
to
I
me.
think okay, so there's a way to connect the Samsung Galaxy phone to your computer, and I think
Yeah.
it does shoot 4K if I'm not mistaken.
With the free version that I use, it doesn't shoot 4K. It
But
shoots
it's like
at 720, I think.
Huh.
But
the
I
screen?
want to have more FPS, and that's why I'm going to upgrade to a proper camera. Because I want to do some playthroughs, so something like that, and I want to have as much frames as possible. I don't know them.
Understandable.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
Well,
see.
let's take a look really quickly at Dimi Kaye's revving up, which is Synth
Yeah.
Red Wave, which is really, really cool now. So.
That rocked.
Yeah, that
It
was
did
really
rock.
cool.
Dimi Kaye rocks. In
Yeah, I
general.
love
Nice.
how you make the guitars just sing, you know?
Remember when I told you earlier that I got hooked because of Iron Maiden, the Trooper?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
learn how to play. Solos. I don't know if I do it correctly,
Oh.
but yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
so
like it.
cool.
That's why I
Oh,
make
good.
it all the time.
I kind of
Yeah.
feel like hitting the
Yeah.
gym right now. You know.
I already did earlier today, and I wanna go for a second round.
Just take your jacket off, man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You want to see the jacket off? I'll take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Kids are not wearing the health shirt.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I wasn't as smooth as expected, but the jacket is off and I'm ready for a workout.
You need to exercise taking off the jacket.
It's a very tight
keep it
jacket.
smooth. You gotta keep it smooth and
Yeah.
stashy.
And sexy, yeah. I
Sexy.
do, yeah.
No. But hey, Dimi, it's been really great, and I wanted to say I really dig your style. You have a really great range when it comes to music. You have we've heard from dark wave to 80s rock to thrash metal and beyond this night. It's been really great.
He's got range. See, that's range.
Thank you guys, but I believe that I just want to play and learn how to play the things that I like to hear. And these are
also,
my.
Sorry, Timmy.
Go ahead.
You're such a great educator as well. Like,
that's
yeah,
good.
Dimi has that professor vibe.
Yeah,
I always enjoy the conversations with Dimi because I feel like I'm learning something, and he's also teaching. And he's like very zen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also have a very zen backdrop, by the
Yeah.
way. Like you have the
I
the
like
Om
that
side.
backdrop.
Yeah.
I don't need to stress over the internet. In our lives, everyone has our problems, yes, and we need to deal with that. When we are on the internet, we don't need to deal with more stress. So as long as we're having fun and we're learning something and we discover and meet cool people that we have something in common, then that's what matters, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a very good attitude to have.
Yeah.
And a very good note to end the show on.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well,
guys, thank you. Thank you for having me. This was amazing. And
this is
I'm
amazing.
glad that
You're amazing. Thank you.
You're amazing. Yeah, you're amazing. Thanks for being here with us.
Yeah.
It was awesome, guys. Thank you.
And thank you for KIZUNAUT, for also bringing all those artists and the videos tonight, the curation, both you, Dimi, and also thank you, Thorson, for sitting through
I've enjoyed
the curation tonight.
I've enjoyed so much getting to know.
Our sacrificial dark synth version.
Yeah, and I went and got a leather jacket.
He got converted after the second or third song.
Jacket,
very
black
quickly.
shirt.
He looks amazing.
It looks amazing with the platinum hair, with the Targaryen hairdo. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. But no, I really, really enjoyed that, and I got introduced to a lot of music that I otherwise probably wouldn't have discovered.
Well,
so
awesome.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Thank you for being here with us.
And the human curation, I think, is still very important. Like that's something that algorithms will never be able to replace. Like that human.
Yeah, absolutely.
Except for maybe the band, the algorithm.
Actually, when KIZUNAUT brought up the algorithm, I got really confused in the conversation for a second. I was like, "What is he talking about?" What algorithm?
Oh my god, the guy has posted once something like that when people are complaining about algorithms, they sometimes ping the algorithm in their complaints, which is like, oh my god, that's so crazy.
Well, anyway,
but it would be super interesting to actually have him on the show sometime if he is
we should try to
willing.
invite him. He's in France, right?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he is. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we will see the algorithm create something for us someday.
All right. Well, any final words to our audience, guys? It's been so
lots of love to everyone.
Lots of love. That's nice.
Stay creative.
Lots of love. Stay creative and stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. And from me, as always, stay smooth, stay sexy, stay sashy. It's a bit long, that one. Maybe I should just choose
I think
one
it's
of them.
perfect. It's great.
It's perfect. All right, is that the one getting copyrighted then?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We're gonna register
All right.
that.
There you have
Good
it,
night,
guys.
guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye bye.